Hi guys! Recently, I've received an email from one of my subscribers and she asked me how to write an Ielts essay with well-developed body paragraphs. This is what she wrote. I know that I need to write an introduction to body paragraphs and the conclusion. I'm fine with the intro and outro. The thing is, every time I'm about to write the details for my body paragraphs, I'm literally stuck. I mean, I write a bunch of sentences, but then I realized that all that stuff was just a mess. I'm desperately in need of certain methods that help assemble my ideas in a logical manner to give my paragraphs some good organization. Well, I think that I'm going to deliver a mini lecture in which I'm going to shed light on the fundamentals of writing essays and the secret of crafting well-developed body paragraphs. Okay, so stay tuned. So I'm gonna use PowerPoint to give you a convenient approach to my lesson, and please get the video to play in HD for maximum legibility. So here we are at a table of contents, and I'm gonna talk you through these 4 parts in a consecutive order. Alright, now what makes up an essay? I'm sure that many of you would say an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Well, that's correct. How about the particular function of each of these parts? If you think the introduction serves to introduce the topic in question and present the writer's overall answer, then you have got off to a good start. That's exactly what you should do upon writing the very first paragraph of your essay. Then the body is where you're going to explain your overall answer in great detail. You're expected to provide explanations and corroborate them using relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. And to bring your essay to a close, you're gonna write a conclusion that repeats and summarizes your overall answer in the introduction. So those are the basics of writing an essay. Okay, let's get down to crafting the introduction and conclusion for this essay prompt. The money spent by government on space projects will be better spent on vital public services such as schools and hospitals. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Số tiền mà các chính phủ dùng cho các dự án không gian tốt hơn nên được tiêu vào các dịch vụ công cộng thiết yếu như trường học và bệnh viện. Bạn đồng ý hay không đồng ý tới mức nào? Well, this is no doubt an opinion question which demands a yes answer or a no answer. And from my personal perspective, that money should be reallocated to public services. So I'd say yes. As I was saying, introducing the topic in the essay prompt and presenting the writer's overall answer are the 2 integral parts of the introduction. So I'm gonna write, it is argued that the money government in some countries spent on space exploration programs should be allocated to public services. Personally, I completely agree with this view. Người ta tranh luận rằng số tiền chính phủ ở một số quốc gia tiêu vào các chương trình khám phá không gian nên được cấp cho những dịch vụ công cộng. Cá nhân tôi hoàn toàn đồng ý với quan điểm này. Notice that it's fine to repeat the ideas in the essay prompt, but you should rephrase them rather than copy them word for word. You see, the phrase spent by government in the prompt has been replaced by government in some countries spent on, and this is a switch from passive voice to active voice. Another example is space project, which has been changed to space exploration programs. And finally, you shouldn't overlook the phrase spent on and its alternative allocated to. Once you're done with the introduction, it's advisable that you leave some blank space for your body paragraphs and set about writing the conclusion. The sole purpose of the conclusion is to repeat and summarize your overall answer in the introduction. It's a way of demonstrating you're maintaining a clear position throughout the essay. In this sense, writing extra to comment on the topic is unnecessary. Now look at my sample. In conclusion, my view is that government should spend money on services that benefit all members of society rather than space programs that do not improve our everyday lives. Tóm lại, quan điểm của tôi là các chính phủ nên tiêu tiền vào những dịch vụ nào đem lại lợi ích cho tất cả mọi thành viên trong xã hội hơn là những dự án không gian không cải thiện cuộc sống hàng ngày của chúng ta. Okay, here comes the lion's share, the body paragraphs. Bear in mind that a body paragraph is composed of a topic sentence and supporting details. The topic sentence is usually an argument, defending the opinion stated in the introduction, while the supporting details are there to substantiate the argument and expand on it. For instance, remember previously I expressed my support for the idea of redistributing government funds from space projects to public services. And now I'm gonna provide two arguments to support my position. These two arguments are also the two topic sentences that begin the body paragraphs. One is that, in my opinion, it would be more sensible for governments to redirect funds from space exploration to public services. Theo tôi, sẽ hợp lý hơn nếu chính phủ hướng nguồn tiền cho việc khám phá không gian vào các dịch vụ công cộng. And the other is, at the same time, I believe that for a variety of reasons, governments should phase out subsidies to space programs. Trong khi đó, tôi tin rằng vì nhiều lý do, các chính phủ nên bớt dần những khoản trợ cấp cho các chương trình không gian. Most IELTS candidates have no difficulty coming up with reason to explain their opinions, but many are daunted by the task of developing body paragraphs. In fact, they have no idea how to write well-developed body paragraphs, and whenever they get down to the details, they find themselves in the writer's block. So if you are in the same situation, then hang on things I'm going to say. There are two principles behind every successfully developed body paragraph. One is that the supporting details are all aimed at explaining or clarifying the argument preceding them. Not a single one wanders off the point or seems redundant. And the other is ideas must be assembled in a logical manner to form a clear progression throughout the paragraph. So how to apply these principles to your written discourse? Well, stick to my paragraph development methods, IEE, and 1, 2, 3. While the former focuses on one single explanation and demands plenty of detail to prove it and further it, the latter requires the formulation of several explanations to validate the argument. Whether you choose IEE or 1, 2, 3, the bottom line is to arrange your ideas in line with the sequence of steps typical of the method of your choice. So if you adopt the IEE method, write 5 sentences. The first one tells your argument. The second explains it in detail, followed by an example. You can then mention an additional explanation, a consequence or hypothesis as sentence 4, before rephrasing the topic sentence as sentence 5 to end the paragraph. For the 1, 2, 3 method, the approach is different. You also state your argument at the first sentence, but you back it up by presenting 3 explanations, one of which is going to be further explained or exemplified. The supporting sentence isn't always intended for sentence 4. You can place it after whichever explanatory sentence you want to clarify further. Okay, is everything clear? I'm gonna demonstrate how I developed the body paragraphs of the space project versus public services essay using both methods. Body paragraph 1, developed using the IEE method. First off, I state my argument. In my opinion, it would be more sensible for governments to redirect funds for space exploration to public services. Theo tôi, sẽ hợp lý hơn nếu chính phủ hướng nguồn tiền cho việc khám phá không gian vào các dịch vụ công cộng. Then I'm going to explain this. This is because essential public services such as hospitals and schools are beneficial to our lives compared with space projects, in the sense that they work to ensure that all members of society are entitled to basic literacy and numeracy skills at an adequate level of health care. Điều này là tại vì những dịch vụ công cộng thiết yếu như bệnh viện và trường học có lợi cho cuộc sống của chúng ta so với các dự án không gian, theo nghĩa rằng chúng hoạt động để đảm bảo tất cả thành viên trong xã hội được hưởng những kỹ năng toán học và đọc viết căn bản và một mức độ chăm sóc sức khỏe đầy đủ. Notice the phrase beneficial to our lives has made it clear why the redirection of government funds is more sensible. Now I'm going to give an example to maximize clarity. For example, public schools teach people, first of all, to read and write fluently, as well as to understand and work well with numbers, whereas public hospitals provide free or subsidized medical care to patients. Lấy ví dụ, các trường công dạy cho người dân trước hết đọc và viết trôi chảy cũng như hiểu và sử dụng tốt các con số, trong khi các bệnh viện công cung cấp sự chăm sóc y tế miễn phí hoặc được trợ giá cho bệnh nhân. The phrases to read and write fluently, as well as to understand and work well with numbers, and free or subsidized medical care to patients have illuminated concepts like basic literacy and numeracy skills, an adequate level of health care. Now this is a follow-up to the original explanation. Apart from this, if governments redistributed funds from space research to the public sector, relevant authorities would be financially motivated to improve many aspects of public services such as infrastructure, service quality, availability, to further support citizens in raising living standards. Ngoài ra, nếu các chính phủ phân phối lại nguồn quỹ từ nghiên cứu không gian vào mảng công cộng, các nhà chức trách có liên quan sẽ được khuyến khích về mặt tài chính để cải thiện nhiều khía cạnh của dịch vụ công cộng như cơ sở hạ tầng, chất lượng dịch vụ, tính có sẵn để hỗ trợ công dân nâng cao chất lượng cuộc sống nhiều hơn nữa. Now the finishing touch is to reaffirm my argument. This makes it clear why spending on public services should be given precedence over funding for space ventures. Điều này đã làm rõ lý do vì sao việc tiêu ngân sách vào các dịch vụ công cộng nên được ưu tiên hơn việc cấp vốn cho các dự án không gian. Body paragraph 2, developed using the 1-2-3 method. First of all, I'll begin by stating my argument. At the same time, I believe that for a variety of reasons, government should phase out subsidies to space programs. Trong khi đó, tôi tin rằng vì nhiều lý do, các chính phủ nên bớt dần những khoản trợ cấp cho các chương trình không gian. Following this, I'll present the three explanations that provide support for my argument. The first one is that, firstly, the Earth itself is not fully explored yet. In fact, the Mariana Trench and the Bermuda Triangle still remain mysteries even to scientific circles. So why should outer space be a spending priority? Thứ nhất, bản thân trái đất vẫn chưa được khám phá trọn vẹn. Rãnh Mariana và tam giác quỹ Bermuda vẫn còn là những bí ẩn, thậm chí đối với giới khoa học. Vậy hà cớ gì không gian bên ngoài lại là một ưu tiên ngân sách? Another is that, secondly, researches and action plans to tackle a wide range of concerning issues on Earth, such as climate change, air pollution, plastic waste, are still in desperate need of government funding. Under the circumstances, it is hard to perceive government expenditure on space science as practical and critical. Thứ hai, các nghiên cứu và chương trình hành động để xử lý một loạt các vấn đề đáng lo ngại trên trái đất như thay đổi khí hậu, ô nhiễm không khí, rác thải nhựa vẫn đang hết sức cần đến sự tài trợ của chính phủ. Trong hoàn cảnh này, thật khó để xem sự tiêu ngân sách và khoa học không gian là thực tế và tối quan trọng. The final reason is that, finally, space travel is extremely dangerous. Even a minor technical issue can cost astronauts their lives. Cuối cùng, du hành trong không gian cực kỳ nguy hiểm. Thậm chí một vấn đề kỹ thuật nhỏ thôi có thể làm mất mạng các phi hành gia. To show how fatal space travel is, I decided to mention the Space Shuttle Columbia incident as a good case in point. For instance, during the launch of the Space Shuttle Columbia, a piece of foam fell off the fuel tank, only to strike the left wing minutes later, causing the disintegration of the vehicle and the deaths of all 7 crew members. Lấy ví dụ, trong lúc tàu không gian Columbia cất cánh, một mảnh nhựa bọt rớt ra khỏi khoang chứa nhiên liệu rồi đập vào cánh trái vài phút sau đó, khiến cho phương tiện này bị rã ra và gây ra cái chết của cả thảy 7 thành viên đoàn. Now read the body paragraphs again to confirm if the two development methods really embrace the principles that I introduced earlier. And once you're done with this, come back and get ready for a quick recap on the main points of the lesson. Okay, so first, I need you to look back on the structure of an essay and the functions of its components. Second, write 2 sentences in the introduction. One is to introduce the topic and the other is to give an overall answer. Third, write 1 sentence in the conclusion that repeats and summarizes the overall answer. And finally, write approximately 5 sentences for each body paragraph. And don't forget to utilize the IEE and 1, 2, 3 methods to organize your ideas. Well, this is the end of my lesson. Thank you for watching.
I got the horses in the bag, horses in the bag.